All right, Brent, what do you got for us here?
Well, this is the Joseph and Emma Smith family Bible.
To think that little X right there
Could have been from Joseph Smith. So I trust you, Brent. I trust that there isn't a map in here, but the people watching may not. So do you mind if we take this for a little bit and just take a look through it and see
you go ahead
what's
and
in
see if
there?
you can find anything.
Restorate. Oh, there is a note here.
Welcome everybody to another episode on the Stick of Joseph. This week we're actually throwing back. We filmed this last summer and it's just been sitting on our hard drive. We almost forgot about it. But go ahead. No, it's fine. Just go ahead. No, it's
one
good.
take wonders. We're not gonna do this again. Basically, it's such good footage, and it was a really cool experience. If any of you know Brent Ashworth, he is a collector of all things everything. Like, we were walking through his little office, and like he's like, yeah, to the right, that's Robert E. Lee's nightstand, and right there,
That's Brigham Young's rocking chair. or JFK ate a lunch with that fork one time. I'm serious. It has everything.
the most random stuff, but also something very specific, which was really cool to handle and hold. It was Joseph and Emma's family Bible that dates back to 1831.
Yeah, so we got to check it out. Originally, we went there because we were doing some research on if the Bible that Joseph Smith had when he was growing up existed. And so we were like, oh, someone has the Smith family Bible. And we were thinking it was that Bible. When we got there, we found out it wasn't that Bible because that Bible doesn't exist. And we learned that.
Well,
while
it
we were there
exists in an unknown
somewhere.
location. So if you're holding that hostage, along with the
let us know.
116 pages, please reach out to us.
Yeah, so we went in there, we learned the history of it. We're going to show you guys this Bible. But then we also just wanted to go through and see what Bibles at the time. So like Jackson said, this was printed in 1831. So it's around the time of the Book of Mormon. We wanted to see if there were maps in those that depicted the Holy Land, because a lot of people will say, oh, Joseph Smith was just looking at maps. Unless he was going to college libraries or things like that, the most likely place he would see those maps is in a Bible from that time period. So that's kind of what we go through. And we also found some markings in the Bible as well.
And I'll say this, if this belonged to Joseph Smith and there's markings in it,
He endorses this channel wholeheartedly.
well, there's at least a 1% chance that those were made by his own hand. Without further ado,
All right, Brent, what do you got for us here?
Well, this is the Joseph and Emma Smith family Bible. Joseph and Hiram brothers purchased their Bibles in Columbus, Ohio in 1831. It was during the time they were living in Kirtland.
Okay.
And the Bibles had some restoration work. We didn't know it existed up until 1974.
Oh, my goodness.
yeah, because when you said Smith Family Bible on the phone, we thought it was Joseph Smith Sr.
That
You're telling
doesn't
us that-
exist.
It doesn't exist. We don't know what happened to it at
No,
all?
we don't. But this is the one this is the family Bible. This was Joseph and Emma's.
So how do we know this is Joseph and Emma Smith? Like,
Well, from the handwriting and from the history.
There's
the
handwriting in it?
genealogy. Yes, there is.
okay, let us see that.
And we know from the provenance, we call it, LDS word would be genealogy. Okay.
So whose handwriting are we looking
Well,
at here?
we're looking at the prophet's handwriting here. He's writing about his marriage here, Joseph Smith and Emma Hale, and they were married January 18th of 1827. And the second page of the family, this is a great thing about family Bibles, is they usually have family history in
The
them.
whole history.
And
Interesting.
this is priceless because you've got the prophet here on birth, family record. Joseph Smith starts writing. Joseph Smith Sr., Lucy Smith, Lucy McAlvin, Hiram, and then Joseph Smith came here in the center of the family. And Samuel, first missionary, William, later a member of the 12, Catherine.
And Don Carlos, I never
Carlos.
understood that.
Where did they get the name Don Carlos?
I'm not exactly sure. That's a good question. But a lot of people got his name after he died because a lot of people were named Don Carlos
I had to
Young
name my
or
boy
Don
Don
Carlos.
Carlos.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So as you were saying, the original Bible that Joseph Smith had growing up, that doesn't exist anymore. But
Right, that
but this
one doesn't.
Bible is from the year after the Book of Mormon was published.
That's
But
correct.
this is what the Bibles would have looked like at that time.
That's right. And it's almost identical to Hiram's.
And one of the reasons that we wanted to check this out, because there's a lot of theories around the construction of the Book of Mormon and if it was really a divine translation, right?
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of theories that there's may have been maps of the old world in the Smith family Bible and things that Joseph could have gone off of in this edition?
All we've got are a few engravings. We don't
What do you
have.
mean engravings?
Well, there's some pictures in here if we were to thumb through it. There's a few engravings, but other than that, there's no map.
There's
At
no
least
map
I've
or
never
anything.
seen a map.
So I trust you, Brent. I trust that there isn't a map in here, but the people watching may not. So do you mind if we take this for a little bit and just take a look through it? And
No, you go ahead and
what's
see
in
if you
there?
can find anything.
Yep. All right. Let's kind of look through. Usually they put the maps at the front. That's how it is in our Bibles, right?
It's usually at the end, actually, but I know you don't pick that thing up much.
Yeah. Oh, look at that. They got. Okay, there's an engraving right there. So they do have illustrations.
There are several engravings.
You can see the imprint from the
printing press.
That's really cool. There's another one.
And so we scrubbed through the whole beginning of the Bible, but we weren't seeing any maps. But we did find Ezekiel.
Here's Ezekiel right here.
The problem was it had Roman numerals.
Dude, I'm going to be honest, I have no idea what that means. I don't read Roman letters.
Roman numerals. I know, we're so stupid. X1V. That's 14, right?
So as we were going through looking for maps and stuff, we were curious. We wanted to see if there were any notes by Ezekiel 37, verse 16.
Which has to do with the name of this channel, the prophecy about the stick of Judah being bound in the same hand as the stick of Joseph.
Trademark. Should we trademark? But,
Trademark.
But one thing that's really interesting, if you guys aren't familiar with why we call this channel The Stick of Joseph, go to the very first video on this channel. It's a throwback. The quality's interesting. It's gotten better. It's a pretty good video. The content's really good, but we've definitely improved on our quality. Check that out and you'll learn what The Stick of Joseph is. But as we were going through, we found something interesting on those verses.
Okay, so there is a mark in this Bible on Ezekiel.
There's a couple little marks.
Ezekiel 37. The stick of Joseph.
Well, that's important.
It's in pen. They had pencils back then. Did they write in pencil?
Yeah, mostly because, but they had ink too. They had both.
Moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah, and for the children of Israel his companions. And take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, and for all the house of Israel and his companions. And join them one another into one stick, and they shall become one in thine hand.
Holy cow, to think that little X right there
Could have been from Joseph Smith in Ezekiel 37. Which is super interesting, right? So, okay, let's go to the end of the Old Testament and see if there's any maps there.
So we continued our search. Still, we didn't see any maps. There were a lot of cool pictures, though.
Yeah. On Hiram.
What does it say underneath?
It says,
City of
view the
Jerusalem.
city of
View
Jerusalem.
of Jerusalem.
Presence. In its present state. That's what it says in its present state. So this was obviously an artist who was in Jerusalem around this time.
Yeah.
Did a drawing of it. That's pretty cool.
But we plugged on until we made it to the index.
So here's the index. This is where the maps are usually in our books,
same.
right? Sorry.
But we still did not find any maps.
All right, so
Importance.
yeah, I don't see any sort of maps in here. And so obviously this isn't a Bible that Joseph Smith had at his disposal when he was writing the Book of Mormon, but it is an example of the types of Bible that were available at the time. Joseph did have this in his life after the fact, and so it looks like we need to get our hands on a Bible that predates the Book of Mormon and see kind of what is available then with Bibles before then. But
So as you saw, that Bible was from a year after the Book of Mormon was actually published. And so if you have some sort of connection or you have one yourself of a Bible that would be contemporary, meaning around the same time that the Book of Mormon was translated, between 1820 and 1830 or even earlier, please reach out at Hayden at thestickofjoseph.com, and we'd love to come take a look at it.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for watching again. If you haven't yet, subscribe. If you haven't liked this video, like it. Helps other people see it. And until next time, stay curious and hungry.